Did you know Jordan Peterson still takes antidepressants?
Yes, I did.
That's crazy.
Not that crazy.
I mean, if you get misrepresented that fucking much, it tends to put a little burden on your soul.
You mean it's dangerous that someone might say this guy's on antidepressants, we shouldn't listen to him? Or do you mean like...
No. I'm saying it makes sense that he would need them.
Yeah.
Like him of all people.
He's needed them for a long
I was watching
that.
this the recent podcast with Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Which I sort of listened to, but I might have fallen asleep.
And he was saying how Jordan Peterson is like the person that he thinks is the most misrepresented.
Yeah, I would tend to agree.
Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting conversation to look at for sure. Anyways, are you watching that video? Or you watched like a good chunk
now? Like I'm at the Q&A now.
I was in and out for a while. Yeah. Like, but I want to buy the book because it's
12
just
Rules for Life.
Yeah, because like just I don't know. There's something about that Kathy Newman interview that was just kind of.
Did you watch that radio interview with the brown guy who said, like, but you've never been a minority, so you don't know what it feels like to be...
Yeah, and he dropped some conservative answer to that.
And he was... and then basically that guy... Like, it was a 3-person interview. There were 2 interviewers, and they treated him way nicer than Kathy Newman did. But it was obvious that the brown guy really disagreed with his message until that point where Peterson did his thing, and then suddenly it was like, oh.
Yeah. Maybe. So, I don't know, there's just been some really interesting developments with this group of people over the last few days. Like, on Joe Rogan, there was Jordan Peterson, Steven Crowder. Ben Shapiro was on with Jordan Peterson on Dave Rubin's show. I watched that live today. It was funny because their stream went down after like 10 minutes or something, and everyone was going crazy, like thinking they're
blocking us.
Yeah, censorship. The lobster censorship is fucking real.
Lobster
man, you have no idea how much that caught on. The lobster thing.
I do know because it was always really good, and then Jordan Peterson actually now, interestingly, probably has more name recognition than Channel 4 News itself. Like,
yes, he does.
The Google Trends data. So as soon as that interview happened, people started posting on the Jordan Peterson subreddit. And yesterday, it showed like the Google searches for Jordan Peterson were 6 or 7 times higher than the Google searches for Channel 4.
That's crazy.
And now it kind of makes sense because, like, do you ever Google
what's his subreddit?
Jordan Peterson.
What is that? Decensus and Infernos? What does that mean?
I have no idea what you just said.
That's what his subreddit says. Jordan Peterson : Decensus and Infernos. Decensus. I don't know.
I never noticed that.
He was really good today. It was a really interesting conversation with the 3 of them.
It was.
You should have seen how much fucking money was getting donated. Some guy, like it was coming in like $10, $10, $10, $10, $20, $5, $20, $20, like that, like faster than that. People were throwing out $400 fucking US. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And then they fucking in the video they talk about there's like a very underrepresented group of people that are finding each other on the internet, and they're all kind of just coming together around these people because they lack a voice. And there's Peterson, Shapiro, Crowder.
That's a triple-edged sword, at least, though. There are a lot of, let's call them uncommon or, small groups of people that are finding each other online and uniting because of this sort of content. But there's also like flat earthers are finding each other online and uniting, and there's
they go
people who
they
believe
go
in
on
Jewish
about that too.
conspiracies.
They go on about that too. Is that it's the internet is the best and worst thing ever, basically for this specific argument.
It's the most powerful tool ever, and as such,
and the most destructive at the same time.
Yeah, because
it creates just chaotic. There's never been so much chaos of information.
Many tools can be equally applied to both construction and destruction. Hammer's an excellent example. The internet is just the biggest hammer the human race has ever seen.
Huh.
Like, it has immense creative power, but it also has immense destructive power, which we've seen many times. That a lot of and the interesting thing is, it actually doesn't physically destroy anything. It leads people to destroy themselves.
Yeah.
Like the H&M thing recently happened. Did you notice that happened?
No.
H&M put out a new clothing line which was jungle themed.
Oh yes, this little coolest monkey in the jungle.
Yeah, and so because of
how do you fuck up that hard? That goes through multiple layers.
It's because they're not American, so the same things don't, like, number one, it's not their primary language. They don't speak English primarily, and number two, they don't have the same cultural background.
But the thing is, you gotta think somewhere along the way, somebody was like, "Hey, that's kind of racist."
I mean, the kid's own mother was there and didn't even notice. So, I think
that is the opposing argument. Yeah.
Yeah, at that point, I think they're pretty much absolved of anything. Like, she's not American.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing. It's fucking blown out of proportion.
Yeah, like
as is other things that piss people off that shouldn't.
They're like a Swedish family or something, right? So, she's got this kid who's a model. They go in for a photo shoot. The shirt is coolest monkey in the jungle. She just puts the shirt on her son and they go take the pictures. It's not something that they think about at all in their daily life. It doesn't even enter the equation. And so I can totally understand them missing it. I can understand the company missing it. I can understand the mother missing it. You know, I can understand that nobody noticed until it got released into the American culture. This is something that actually Jordan Peterson addresses in his Maps of Meaning course.
Yeah. He has all those videos on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Like his hour and a half long lectures.
Yes. I've watched like all of the 2014 and the 2015 ones.
Yeah.
The personality course and the Maps of Meaning course.
Sorry, side note, who is the Spectator?
What?
Who is the Spectator? Is that a news organization?
I have no idea.
The Spectator?
I think it must be.
It's a quote on his hardcover 12 Rules for Life book.
Yeah, it must be either a news or a book review people.
Yeah. So the quote is, "One of the most important thinkers to emerge on the world stage for many years." That's quite a statement.
That's quite a statement. I do think it's kind of true.
Yeah. He's kind of bringing the war of ideology to the forefront. Like the current... It's been like that forever. But there's never been a war of ideologies like we're seeing right now than there ever has been. It's a different... there's just as much conflict. But
it's a Cold War so far.
Yeah, it's
more
chaotic. It's way more chaotic because there's more people,
and also because the information travels so quickly.
Yeah, and so inefficiently / efficiently.
You can distribute a message to so many people without the authenticity of the message being authenticated.
Yeah.
Like you could say, here's what Jordan Peterson said, and have none of it be an actual real quote. And because you've distributed that to then 200 million people,
Yeah.
you're going to get a few 100,000 that believe it.
Yeah.
Just because of the numbers that you're reaching are so high. I asked a friend of mine who goes here, or at least he used to go here. I don't know if he still does. That I went to high school with, and he's like, his track is he wants to become a lawyer. He's a really reasonable human being. And I said, hey, Matt, have you been paying attention to this? And he said, not really, but kind of. And I said, well, what do you think about this situation? And he said, well, my impression of Jordan Peterson is he's kind of a dick. And
yeah, I do get that vibe. One can certainly get that vibe.
I really doubt that you could actually get that vibe if you had watched a lot of his content. I think if you watch short 10-minute video clips that are posted by other people, it'll show him yelling about things like free speech, and you'll be like, okay, well, he's not that different than anyone else yelling on the internet.
Yeah.
But if you watch the first 3-hour Joe Rogan Experience, for example, with Jordan Peterson that has like 10 million views on it, you realize that he is in no way a bit of a dick, and he was just a little bit irritable that day. And there's a difference between your personality is you're a bit of a dick, and one day you're particularly frustrated and someone provoked you. Because that's what happened that day. It was more than just he was yelling. It was someone wanted him to yell.
Who are you talking about?
Which part?
This event
where he was yelling?
Yeah.
That's the very first Jordan Peterson viralness.
Yeah, okay. They talked about that today on the on one of the things I watched. Everyone's seen that video, and they talk about how that is what made him famous.
Right.
Was that
and some people saw that video with 10 minutes of context. Some people saw that video with 5 minutes or 0 minutes of context.
Yep.
And the impressions
and that person, the person in the video trying to piss him off, didn't watch his content. So that there's another example of the misrepresentation of.
Oh, you mean the person who's like, I've watched your videos.
Yes,
like,
yeah. And you're like, really, you've seen my hundreds of hours of lecture content. I think it was hundreds of hours of lecture content. And there's no way in hell. I've watched this guy for 5 hours of watching Jordan Peterson related things. 5 hours in, I already got a relative sense of what he was. That's even remotely close to what he is.
I've watched over 150 hours of Jordan Peterson talking.
What, with massive meaning?
Just I added up all of the different videos.
Oh, you
talking.
Okay?
And I've watched over 150 hours of him talking.
Yeah. He's not fucking unreasonable. He does come off as a dick. That is, and see today there was a really interesting conversation with Dave Rubin today that Ben Shapiro did as well. He asked them both, what is a legitimate criticism you have about yourself?
Yeah, that's right where I am right now. I just watched.
Yeah. So for Peterson, I wish he would have answered with that. That is, I think, that's the source of the misrepresentation, is because he comes off as malicious. He has a malicious intent. But the thing is, the problem with people not watching his stuff, they only see the sound bites. Because people suck at absorbing complete information now, because you have little things on... somebody's... How many shares did the Guardian's article get about him? that wrote a hit piece after the channel.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of people think of him to be a terrible person based on the Guardian's like under education fucking.
I have not read the Guardian article, but
it was just it was trashing him after the Channel 4 interview.
Yeah.
Like trying to say he was a dick. And the thing is, I agree with what he says, but I disagree with the way he presents it to people who are so far on the other side. They're so, in my perspective, subjectively far up their own asshole. Like, they're... you're never gonna convince somebody who is that far away from you and sees these little sound bites. People call him a Nazi. He's not if he's a Nazi, what the fuck am I? What the fuck am I? I am going to hell and beyond. There's like, I'm going to the hell that you go to when you're shit in hell. That's where I'm going, okay? If he is a Nazi, I am the worst I am worse than Stalin. I have produced the moral equivalent throughout my lifetime, the same as Joseph Stalin. 25 million fucking people killed.
I don't see how anyone reads any sort of malice into the way he presents it, and I'd be really interesting if you could like fill me in on how you're coming to that conclusion, because I'm seriously interested in why and how people say these things about him.
Well, you know, people call him a Nazi. He's alt-right. You
said I see he's a bit of a dick, and I'm actually curious as to what you see makes you say that, because I don't understand it.
Potentially appearance. By the way, side note, I'm looking at this video on the subreddit, and it's a the title is Jordan Peterson makes the argument against quote unquote nice guys while wearing a fedora. He's wearing a fedora while he does it.
Is that the one where he addresses men that are harmless?
Alpha males are disappearing. He does that a lot.
Is it the goodbye to good men from TVO? Is it that one?
Yes. It is TVO. Yeah, it's TVO. Sorry, that was just a side note anyways.
I've seen most of his appearances on TVO. So,
what were you saying?
I get the impression from him and the way he talks and what he talks about. He appears to me much more like a concerned father than a person who's a dick. And, you know, like, he can be stern, for sure. But it doesn't appear to be at all motivated or loaded with malice. I've never seen him hating someone. I've seen him hating ideas.
Okay, here's a relevant example I can talk about in depth.
Okay.
The video that made him famous, that event.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous, depending on what side you're on. That's the thing. What he's saying is ridiculous to the left, and what she is saying is ridiculous to normal people who can think and have a coherent thought. No, that was a hit, but
But he doesn't hate that person though, and he might be a bit angry with
here's
them.
the thing.
There's a difference between anger and malice.
But to them, to somebody who has seen a soundbite of him.
So I understand if what you're trying to say is this is why and how the people see him as a dick.
Yeah.
But
okay. I shouldn't say he comes off as a dick if you are on the opposing side. right? Not even opposing side. You're up in the air because most people are, because they don't actually know why they believe a lot of things, and that's notorious. That's what liberals are notorious for doing. They'll believe something, but they won't be able to talk. Because it's like
That
this.
sure does happen.
Yes, it does. Very often.
But I actually think a lot of anyone who's on the fence and watches his interviews has been...
Yeah. But the reason those people don't believe what we believe is because they haven't been... They're too up in fucking Kylie Jenner's Instagram picture that's going to beat the record because there's this huge conspiracy that she's pregnant. They're caught up in that fucking social pop culture bullshit and are never exposed to these intellectual thoughts. They're not they're hey girl, I'm fucking worried about how my eyelashes look when I'm going out to the club on Friday night and getting wasted. That's what goes through some people's minds. They're not thinking, hey, I wonder if Jordan Peterson is misrepresented in the media. So they're never exposed to this type of shit. You following me?
Not really. I mean, I understand what you're saying about popular leading thought, but I don't understand what you're saying about how
they have seen shit from any news site on Facebook, on fucking Twitter. I don't know, Instagram maybe, probably not if it's politics. Somebody who's on r/politics all the time and hates Jordan Peterson. Maybe that person. They're just kind of spewing shit. Oh, you're a fucking Nazi. Yeah. Point being, he is, I shouldn't say he comes off as a dick, though. It's with an asterisk. There's an extra part there. I know a lot of people. Here's the thing. I like people who are labeled alt-right. I like a lot of their ideas. Milo's ideas, Ben Shapiro, even Joe Rogan is labeled. Joe Rogan and Dave Rubin are labeled alt-right. I agree with those people. However, there's a disconnect between sides. A severe disconnect. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying. There's a huge... to bridge that gap, to get somebody, quote-unquote, on your team, because that's fucking relevant in the news right now. To get somebody on your team, you have to... There's a certain way... from a psychological perspective, that Peterson would follow this, but to psychologically convince them takes strategy, and it's the way in which you present your argument to an opposing side. The way in which you present it, not whether it's right or wrong, is indifferent, and I happen to believe Jordan Peterson is right about things, but it's the bridging of the gap in the process of debating that.
So are you
that leads him to be
presentation is off?
How he presents information to the opposing side. I guess that is a debate you could have in itself. Is he good at... That's a super... it's general, too. Some would say it's good to... the opposing argument would be, oh, well, he's good at being firm and fierce, even strong. And that allows him to get to more people. So, yeah, I don't know. You could counter that, too. I'm open to that.
I'm saying his presentation is one of the best.
To us, though. I'm trying to put my eyes into somebody else who's completely different than I am. I'm trying to put myself in their shoes, looking at this stuff. I'm
I
thinking
think
I'm a
his
little dumber.
presentation starts to look even better when so if you compare Jordan Peterson's
No,
presentation to someone
okay,
else,
I get you, but I think you're misled in some of the people that roam our campus.
well, what you're saying is JP's not going to convince anyone to change sides.
I want Jordan
That's what
Peterson
you're
to
saying,
be
right?
able in that first event, right? Like the thing that got him famous. I want him to be able to, because this would make for a better viral video. Him literally sit this person down and like make her rethink her whole existence in 20 minutes.
Well, that's just not going to happen.
But
I think you're being
okay,
so,
yes,
so the
I'm
difference
too
here-
optimistic, maybe, but
you're saying he's not capable of convincing every human on the planet, and what I'm saying is he's capable.
I
of
wouldn't go
convincing
that far. But
more
yeah, if you were to
humans than
stretch,
anyone else. You know what I mean? I'm saying he is if not the
okay,
best,
you know what? I
one
should
of the
say
best.
to that, like, no, I don't expect him to be able to convince everyone on the planet, but because of the fact directly that he's so misrepresented, like, what am I trying to say?
You were originally on the topic of his presentation isn't good. And I'm trying to say that actually his presentation is probably, if
Okay,
not
what-
the absolute best, one of the best.
Why do you
That's-
think? Why do you think it's the
that's
best? Why do you think that he
I
has?
think the Kathy Newman interview is an example. It's a perfect example of his presentation and its ability to live
Mhm.
dismantle someone who's arguing against you, or better, having them dismantle themselves to the point where she starts a sentence without knowing how to finish it because she's a robot that behaves that way. Then her brain catches up and it's like, wait, you actually don't have a response to that because you agree.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Yeah, I do remember that moment.
no one else is
specifically.
no one else I've ever seen is capable of doing that.
Yeah.
And he didn't
That's
convince
fair.
Kathy Newman.
Yeah.
And you if your criticism is he's not capable of convincing Kathy Newman, then I'll say, well, you're right. He isn't capable.
You know what? I will give him credit for that moment because
Because
most people would see that clip and think, yeah, he got her.
Yeah.
Like,
and he did.
gotcha. I gotcha.
That's exactly what I'm trying to
If
say.
you have a high enough level of thought to be able to process that, like even remotely, then that's what how you're gonna see it. I need to exclude a certain percentage of the populace who think politics is the worst thing. Since they think it's cool to be stupid at science, to not be able to comprehend science, they think that's cool. Those people, science, politics, maybe not politics, but they're like, oh, I'm not good at math, haha.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You gotta exclude those people because you're not gonna be able to sit them down for 5 minutes to show them this shit and have them have any any remotely coherent response.
So
you gotta exclude them, but
millions of people did see that interview and think, lol, she got wrecked.
yeah.
Because it's now like it was on the trending page of YouTube, even though they basically filter out all Jordan Peterson content.
Oh, that is true. That is true. It was popular.
So, and like he had
I didn't know it was on the trending page. That's
yeah,
pretty
it was like
interesting.
number 23 on trending. or
And
something.
knowing
It wasn't.
YouTube's censorship behaviors over the last 2 years.
Yeah,
that
that
does
was a
surprise
big
me.
deal. It got 5 million views in like 3 days. It was a very big deal.
Yeah, I was watching the view count go up. I probably first saw it when it had 100,000. Like the Channel 4 kept it up the whole time.
Yep. Because
I think it was like 100,000 views.
They at least have enough respectability to not delete something that really did happen. That would be an actual problem. If they removed that from YouTube,
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like other people have similar, like, if you were to quantify it and compare it to other things that have been taken down for the same reason, I'm sure you could come up with 20. Sure, like, least.